Booty.
That's an interesting microwave. It doesn't even have buttons. It has buttons.
But like
No,
braille.
these are buttons.
Oh, okay. Those are the buttons. Like modernized.
state of the art.
Well, I'm graduating in December after 5.5 years. I came to OU from another school, and I really liked it here. It was great. Everyone was really nice, and I'm gonna miss it when I graduate because it's very unique. Okay. Well, I did my undergrad and grad school at OU. I think the first house show I ever went to, like a hardcore punk show, and Browntown was like 30 Brown, a small house on Brown. Max Wheeler, he actually lived in this house before him too. He kind of took it on himself to create a little house show and put a whole bunch of installation in the basement, and they had almost like a community center that had a bunch of magazines and potlucks and house shows in the basement, and it was usually alcohol free. They ended early, so there was, I think it's the most sustainable house show, and it went for years and years, and just recently they stopped doing shows. I was in underground electronics scene. And my favorite house was, they called it the Playground. It's at the corner of East State and Stimson. And they had DJs down there, and occasionally they had like one DJ on the porch, and out in the backyard they played in the backyard, and another DJ in the basement. And they were just the craziest parties, and I felt like it was a really good spot because it's right on two busy streets, and it was like right on close to the other people, and cops didn't bust it easily as other parties around here. Yeah, and there was the morgue. I don't know if the morgue is still happening, but that was another good venue for like metal, punk, and I guess it actually used to be a morgue way back in the day. It was just this big like square brick house and sit in the back on North Congress, and that also had the benefit of woods in the back and have hardly any neighbors to complain about it. But it seems like after they changed the laws for the noise ordinance, where a police officer could drive down the street, and if they could hear anything from the house, even if no neighbors have complained, they can walk up to the house and you're making noise and you should stop having the party. And as soon as they put this law in place, a lot of house shows didn't keep going, or they had to keep going. Like I used to at my old house on Walker, we would have shows, somehow have to talk to the cops. Yeah, the playground on Mound, people still live on Mound there. Sometimes you see things pop up like the Spacement. Is it 186 North Lancaster or something? Just a house with a very large, like, basement area, high ceilings. They did a bunch of neat graffitis on the wall. I know it was a big DJ venue in 2011, and then new people moved in, and they didn't have any shows. And then just last year, there was some kind of jam band, hippie, juddy people living there, and they had a bunch of really good shows, actually. I was really surprised and glad that they had brought it back. But then I think, again, the tenants don't want to have anything to do with the whole thing. But yeah, something like the Spacement and the morgue, they go in and out, and, you know, eventually someone will bring the morgue back, because it's just such a good venue, and it's kind of secluded, and the Spacement also. Like, I'm sure the landlords probably don't like the reputation of their house being a house show house, so they might even screen the tenants for the next year this basement was a big venue last year. Maybe they try to find some more square people who aren't going to party as much. Because, in my opinion, if you have such a perfect house show venue, you're going to have friends who are like signing the lease for next year. I want to keep it going. And I think that happens sometimes, but I have a feeling that some landlords might just try to find somebody else or make sure they're not overdoing the lease or destroying the property. I know the Pink Mistress is another house show venue in North Lancaster, and they really tried to stop the Pink Mistress from happening by painting the house brown. It's not pink anymore, and so the whole venue lost its name. They had a problem with the floor. So many people jumping on the floor. They had the floor jumping on like a trampoline. There was actually a floor. Someone fell into the basement and fell into the living room. And I think the landlord was just like, we have to find some studious people who will live here and keep this going, and we're going to paint the house, and then we're no longer the Pink Mistress. So it's kind of sad to see these places kind of fall off the map and remember the glory days, and something else will pop up then again. I used to live up on Mound Street at 47 Mound, and we didn't have too many shows there. It kind of just kept to ourselves, and I guess this year they've created and made it into the Babe Cave, so that's another venue. I have some fond memories of that place, and I used to live at 186 North Congress, like way at the top of the hill, and we called it the Birdhouse, and been having little kind of small intimate bedroom rock, kind of low-key stuff up there. And I lived on Walker, 20 Walker. We had Macma DJ concerts party there, and just a few doors down, just at 40 Walker was the Lodge, and they had some more experimental stuff there, and some bands. I don't think that's going anymore. And as far as electronic stuff, the other venue still in town, is going, is the Bat Lounge. It's kind of set back on Morris. Brick house, crazy brick design on the outside. Huge floor, great layout for house shows. But I've seen very experimental, weird music, metal there, and some other music. But I've seen some very experimental American noise music there, and some regular, the house party and the house show music scene is a little bit different than a uptown scene. I'm kind of tired of seeing the same 3 bands all the time playing uptown. The Weird Science, Bright at Night. What other bands are always playing? Like Slackluster, Slut Castle. Kind of, a lot of people are in those. Some people are multiple bands, so you see the same people playing all the time, and it's unique, but there's not a lot of much variety. Also, the style of music is kind of sort of Athens thing, but it's called Athens shitcore. It's kind of like just kind of shitty rock music that you get drunk and you listen to it. It sounds great, but you kind of rock out and you have a good time. It's not very refined, but it's a good time. But the house shows, you can see a little bit more different side of Athens, like the electronic scene. There's basically no electronic sound uptown. It's basically underground. And some of these jam bands are kind of hippie things, kind of don't get as much uptown. I kind of go to one of 3 bars if I'm going to go see music. The Union, Jackios, and Casa. But Jackios is kind of falling off the map as a venue. They're not doing as much music, just focusing on the restaurant and the brewery side of it. They rebuilt the Union. Is by far the best venue uptown right now. It's the only venue in Athens that kind of feels like a concert hall, but not just a bar with speakers in it. Casa is very fun. I do enjoy. I feel like it gets the dance floor a little bit going there. More intimate layout, and the speakers are great facing. The bands are kind of close, and it can be kind of a little too close in when it's kind of scattered. But if you really want to go out and dance, it's kind of like the place to go. Other than that, I haven't really seen any shows at other bands or places uptown, Pretty much just Casa and Union. What's your take on the G.J. Bartigas in the 80s night and the 90s night and stuff? Oh, it's fine. I've known Bart for a long time, and it's always a good time. But there could be more DJ nights. I think. I've always dreamt that there could be a legitimate dance club that could be dedicated to all electronic music. You could have Dave rave if he's not playing anymore. He could have his night, and then you could have a more techno night and 80s night and DJ Barticus, and then there's always these other DJs playing that are playing more modern music that you're not seeing unless you're at a house party, and I feel like they need a venue. And I was really excited about the 24/7 Dreams place opening. They have the same speakers as the Union, it's a very good sound system. Huge venue, very dance club atmosphere, and I have an idea that's gonna blow up soon as they get a liquor license and they get that worked out. But I've been a little turned off by that place because every time a DJ comes down to that place, it's $10 at the door, and Athens, that's really a steep price, but I guess they're paying for these guys to come in from other towns. During the day, I'm a research assistant for OU. I work in the microbiology lab doing molecular biology and some biochemistry stuff. Science attracts a lot of weirdos and a lot of cool people and a lot of quiet people. But the longer I work there, and the more I get to know other people working in labs next door, they all have very interesting stories, and they're all over the world and the country. I'm liking it, but as the further I get along from being an undergrad, it's a little bit isolating in my age group now. I'm making friends with some PhD students and other local folks, but if you're not between the ages of 18 and 23 or something, you're gonna have a feeling like, oh, what am I still doing here? And all my friends are getting jobs in other cities, and they eventually come back. That's what I love about Athens, is that my friends and people in general, and events like Pop-Up Festival and Brew Week, that my friends will always come back, and I show them the town, and it's like nothing has changed. That could be a wonderful thing about Athens, but that could also be a downside, that you're here and, well, nothing's changed except that I'm getting older. But when you see people come back, they're like, whoa, you're living the dream. I can't believe you're still here and you're having all this fun. And there's these house shows going on in the music scene, and I miss all this stuff so much. And having friends that I could see just walking down the street, and there's a lot of spontaneous stuff you could do, like I could work uptown, meet someone and say, hey, you want to grab something to eat or have a cup of coffee or whatever. You don't have to have as many plans. You can kind of go with the flow, and I like that aspect of a lot. But it could also be a downside if you see too many people you know and you get too familiar. You get a little tired and have to skip town a little bit to refresh. Long time no see. Hi, what are you doing back here? Do you live there? Oh, yeah. There's a Carmi, I'm gonna go. Bye. Thanks. Bye. I think getting older here, I've noticed in Athens, like you were saying, a bunch of past 18 to 23 mark, you're already getting, it's a little abnormal because in this bubble you get, I've heard from people who lived in different city, one example, a friend, a guy I know, his name's Joe and he lives in Baltimore now, but he said when he was living in California, there was no sense of an age, people in different ages can mingle, and I said, yeah, there was a woman who was a woman that was an artist, and I was living next to her in my apartment, but in Athens, we live in this bubble town, and it's, we're in this bubble, and in this college town, and there's a way in our society is structured, if you're a freshman, a sophomore, a junior, a grad student, and so there's these collectives or bubbles, then beyond that, then do you have a family? And then if you're neither of those, and you're probably just an old crazy person that walks around and does something, and if you're just this old crazy person living in your trying to restrain craziness, like going to the skull, so I just personally don't want to be any of those things, man. I mean, it's just tricky, but as long as I'm still motivated and inspired and I feel like I get enough positive response to my interactions from any college students, I'll just continue to do it and not try too hard. So I don't think you're going to see me like tomorrow getting more tattoos to make myself look edgier and harder or anything like that. Saying too the good and the bad, and a lot of people believe that, and they come back and they come back from a different perspective. So I think the bubble comes from the majority of the population, the students. They lack a certain perspective, and it's the first time they're living away from home, and they're getting exposed to things from the beginning, which is great. And you have people that leave, and they go out into the real world outside of the bubble, where you have to grow up, or you have to, I don't even know what growing up is anymore, but adulting is not fun. I mean, adulting is just basically a worldwide conspiracy to just take over bills and pay for shit to get society to work, and I think that is partly the truth, and I don't want to sound like, I used to sound like I was a kook, but there's just so many rules out there telling you how to do things and live a certain way and follow these paths of just, I don't know, what's the opposite of sharpening? Blunting. You lose your edge, or losing a certain fire, because we have to pay bills and raise a family and contribute to society. And I think that in Athens you do contribute to society, but by living this way. But there's got to be a bubble somewhere that tells people to live differently. And I think that's what people in Athens can be proud of. And they should be proud of, and of course that it falls down into the negative when people are over partying or they drink too much. But in Athens, it's like, it's wonderful it's okay. There's even times that I admit that I don't often drink anymore, but there's times where I go out drinking and everyone's like, it's like a democracy again. I gotta use the urinal again. I gotta pee. And we're all friends here, so I do think that there's that sense of new people coming in town where I think the most people that commit the worst acts of assholeness they're just outsiders. And they feel entitled, and they feel like they're an exception to the rule with what they do that doesn't affect other people, and they can just take. And unfortunately, you just don't know what those are until shit happens. Hear yourself talk as you're talking. You can only hear them talking. So it sounds like you're talking as them, and they're talking like you're one person, but you don't sound like yourself because they're talking and you can hear it. If that makes sense. It's weird. I feel like when you talk, that reveals part of your personality and who you are as a person. And I kind of felt like I was in another body, if that, I don't know. Because it felt like I was that person talking as them and not myself. Yeah.